Hi everyone! I think I brought this up in my garden tour that my plant here needed a little more help. So what I did was I cleared off some of the brown leaves, and I need to get more of the leaves from this plant that are no good. And I'm going to put a pot back there and get this plant to get more food so we can get bigger and grow all through the fall. Because I want to have zucchini in the fall and in the winter. The plant is doing really good, but it's struggling a little bit. And I think it's struggling because they both got so big that they're pulling so much nutrients out of that they can't keep up with all the fruit that they're producing, and they're loaded. So if I help it out a little bit more, I should be able to get a lot of fruit off of that and then have a whole bunch more. So let me show you what I'm going to do. I do all kinds of stuff, and I really need a draggy camera with me so you can see what I do. And I'm going to show you how I'm going to feed this particular plant and get this going so this plant will last me all through the fall and maybe through the winter too. Let's go see what I do. So the first thing I need to do is take a bottom out, at least make some big holes in one of these pots I use. What you can do is use a regular flower pot like what you get at the garden center when you buy a plant. That will be fine too. I don't have that many of those. I really should ask, because a lot of times they don't reuse them and they throw them out. So ask your local nursery. That's it. One hole's good. I could do one more. I think I'll do one more. Anywhere, it doesn't really matter, because when I'm going to feed that squash, I want to make sure that when I'm throwing food scraps in there, the worms, the microbes, everything are going up and down into the container where the zucchini is growing. Now what I'm going to do, and bear with me, I got to go find some colored leaves. Now I'm going to take colored leaves, and you could even use, newspaper if you wanted to too, or shredded paper, and line the bottom where those big holes were. Colored leaves are great compost. Everything seems to come to them. Throw anything you've got in there, all your stuff, and now I'm going to go put this where my zucchini's growing. And then it's going to leach down into that container. Let's go do that. Now, I'm going to put, and I'm hoping you can see it, I'll try to get you in. I don't need this in here. I'm going to take this pot, I'm going to stick it back here. You can also continue to remove the rest of the zucchini leaves that are too brown, and even some of the flowers. And I am now dumping compost on top of that. I shouldn't say compost, I'm sorry. I am now dumping kitchen scraps on top of that. And that's it. This is going to break down and feed this zucchini plant so well. Both of them are going to be fed from this. And I'll trim the rest of the leaves off, put them on top. And I'll put some I'm going to put some wood chips on top. If you don't have wood chips, you don't have to put anything, but if you don't want it to smell, you can put some wood chips on top. You can put some potting soil, even a little bit of native soil, just a little bit. That's all you have to do, that's it. That's all you have to do. I can trim the rest of the leaves off the zucchini plant, maybe tomorrow, the next day, and add some more. And that's all that needs to be done. That is going to feed this whole plant. This is going to create so much food, so many microbes for this plant. So there it is. That pot is going to release all kinds of rich food for these two zucchini plants that really need some more food to it, because they have become so massive. Look how big they are. I'm going to take off the rest of the leaves. Maybe tomorrow. Take off the rest of the brown leaves. I'll drop that in on top of that pot I put in there. This will give all the new baby zucchinis a good chance. I mean, we saw a zucchini on here, see? That's a beautiful zucchini. And this is pure zucchini, Black Beauty. But it really needed something more. And now that's going to give it more food. It just got so massive and produced so much, so fast. And it's just, you know, it's a double-decker. But it would be able to still grow. It would be a hit and miss on how many zucchini I would get on that. So this way it didn't cost me anything. It's kitchen scraps. It's stuff from the garden. That pot, I just water it as if I'm watering a plant. It's going to feed this plastic container that I've double-decked out for 2 big zucchinis. And I've got the plant growing great. And that's all it takes. There's nothing to it. Free food from your kitchen, from your garden, from your neighbor's garden. Just leaves and rotting food and banana peels and just anything you've got. Look, clean out your refrigerator. I'm sure you've got stuff in there that's no good. Stuff that you cooked and forgot about or brought home from the restaurant and forgot about. You know, you just throw all that in there and look at that. That pot is sitting under there. And now it's become a constant food source. It's going to run down into the first one, and then it will go into this one. And isn't that going to be cool? I'll have to get those yellows, even the yellow zucchini. See, we don't need that. This isn't going anywhere. This isn't doing anything. So we take that off, and we toss it in there. And it becomes food for the plant. So I will go through, remove all the zucchinis that are growing on there that are no good, and that plant will just take off. It struggled a little bit from the heat, but I think the main thing was, even though there was a lot of kitchen scraps in there, it was just so massive, so big, that it can use a little more of a boost. And the microbes will just take off and get even, you know, more microbes in there with that food in there that I just put in there, and it's just going to take off. Any of your towers or your containers you set up, you know, replenish them. Now, if I wanted to, I could have skipped the pot that I put in there. And what I could have put in there is nothing. I could have dug a hole, that's another way I do it, and just dumped in a bunch of matter I had left from the kitchen, scraps and stuff, and then cover it. Either way works. But see, now I've created another vessel in there that I could plant in. I could throw some tomato seeds in there. I could grow another zucchini in there. I could grow kale. I could put anything in there. I might put some pepper seeds in there, because this wall is going to be nice and warm as fall and winter approaches. And a pepper plant might do really well all winter here, because that wall is going to create heat. So I could kind of think about what I want to put there that needs a little bit of warmth in the winter and put it in that pot. So it's going to work as double duty for me. But in the meantime, I'm just going to water. I'm just going to let it feed both of the containers that are there and both of the plants. There's only 2 plants in here, 2 zucchinis. That's all I planted, 1 seed in each one, and that's what grew in that rich soil of just breaking down matter from my yard. And there you go. So we'll see what happens. We'll come back and hopefully it will keep going. And I'll have more zucchini all fall. So it's only been a few days since I set up the container back there, which I think I can show you where it is. See the container? Just threw garbage on top. There's kitchen scraps in there. And it's already had an explosion of new flowers and new zucchini coming up now in there. See all the baby zucchini in there? And I believe the bottom one does too, but the end is now over here. Hey. So that's all it needed. It just needed to be cleaned up. This is a little leaf miner. I can either remove it or squish it. It's pretty much gone now. I don't worry about a few little ones. You can't get rid of everything. Birds can't really get to those, but you can squish it. But as soon as the leaf looks a little brown, like that one, I'll just take it off. But look at that. So you can refeed your plants very easily by just putting in a container. Now the other way you could do it, if I wanted to, was I could have just dug a hole and dropped in a bucket of kitchen scraps and leaves from the garden and then covered it, and that will work too. Just clean up the plant, give it a new feeding, and you're good to go. And of course, I do make the tea off and on, which I have not made for this plant. So I should do some of my compost tea just by throwing in leaves, dropping it in a bucket of water. In a couple days when it smells like it's rotting, just dump it in. So there it is a few days later. Somewhat cleaned up, a couple more leaves still have to come off, but the new fruit is already just taking off, and it's just full of new flowers that will be opening real soon, and new fruit. And hopefully this plant will go on for the next couple months. And don't forget to eat what you grow. Bye-bye.